Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. I'm Mark Nuce. Thanks so much for joining us today. With us on the program are Dr. Rochelle O'Connor, and she is a professor emeritus at Wright State University, and Joe Roble, director of marketing from Ohio Living Westminster-Thurber here in Columbus, and they recently teamed up with some residents at Ohio Living Westminster-Thurber for a very interesting project, and I'm going to let them describe it, but the end result was the making of a movie, which sounds very interesting. So, Dr. O'Connor, why don't you tell us a little bit about how this got started and what the residents did?
Thank you, Mark, and thanks for having us. We were at a Nightmare Film Festival at the Gateway Film Center, and I was with my husband, who's a chief operating officer, Dan O'Connor at Ohio Living, and the chief nursing officer, Connie Tostovan, whose son was pretty much in charge of the Nightmare Film Festival, and it was really a lot of fun. And I've known the people he's worked with for a few years because I've attended regularly. And I said, because I'm retired and always looking for my next fun thing to do, I said, we could do this with the residents. And my friend Connie said, oh yeah, they could come in and just make a movie. I said, no, I will build a whole curriculum, and we'll do an artist in residence program, and it'll be great. And our culminating project will be to produce a short film. So essentially what I did is I wrote a semester-long curriculum project and spent the first 8 weeks getting to know the residents, studying the short film genre, and then doing what I like to call my greatest hits, which are my most fun things I did as a language arts professor. So as a result, I wrote a script that I thought pretty much matched their personalities, sometimes in a hyperbolic way. I'm not sure if Gene's a gangster or not, but somewhat hyperbolic, and brought in an acting coach. And then come December, we were ready to film. And it took about 3.5 days to do this film, and the gentlemen from Image 11 Films were true professionals. They even brought in a drone, which they might tell you about because they were pretty jazzed about that. Brought in a drone, and then had this fantastic premiere on February 25th at the Gateway Film Center, which sold out the small theater. So we opened up the larger theater, and it sold out the large theater as well. It was outstanding.
And what's the title of the film?
Moonshine and Kafka. If you see the film, you'll see there's a little bit of a few stories that centered around moonshine, which, again, these emerged from the activities we did in class. They just didn't come out of thin air, a floating dead body. One day in class I said, okay, let's look around the campus and see what resources do we have, because we use the beauty parlor, we use the exercise room, the pool, which is where the floating dead body is. Head of security. One of the people said, we don't have a head of security, really. And I said, well, we do now.
You do, yeah.
So we brought in all these different things from the stories, and Moonshine is one of them. And then Kafka, of course. Nothing Kafka-esque about this. It's not quite that dark. It's just the fact that, sometimes moving into a continuing care retirement center or a life plan community, as they now call it, can be somewhat daunting. So part of the story is about the metamorphosis about one of the characters.
And Joe, the folks who were involved in this, did they embrace it right away?
Well, we had Rochelle come to one of our resident association meetings and provide Rochelle an opportunity to talk to them about what our project's all about, and it's about the Creative Arts Academy. And so we are very much a lifelong learning environment there, and so Rochelle presented to them what this opportunity could provide for them, and 21 residents signed up and said, yeah, I want to learn more. And so the class began to kind of take shape, and then over time we ended up with 9 residents that could make the commitment and feel comfortable with knowing that the end result was going to be making a short film.
And I know that you're always looking for ways to keep people interested, keep people living, basically a life that's fulfilling. And you're always looking for ways to do away with the blahs. Explain that.
Yeah, so we believe in a philosophy of care called the Eden Alternative, and part of that is eliminating the blahs of life, the boredom, loneliness, and helplessness that oftentimes plague the human spirit. And when we can eliminate those things, that means we're creating opportunities within our community that allows people to express themselves individually, creatively, and this creating this creative arts academy is in our wheelhouse of saying, hey, we are all about lifelong learning. The other thing, Mark, that I was really, and all of us at Ohio Living Westminster-Thurber are excited about is that we had residents from all different areas of care that participated. And so that's also really interesting for us because it's not just about the individuals that we would typically say are, able to do these things. It's amazing how no matter where we're at in the journey of life, we can contribute and participate.
And Rochelle, tell us a little bit about the curriculum you put together and what it entailed.
Oh, sure. Within the very first week, we did an activity called Where Are You From?, where it's a response to a George L. Lyon poem. And I use this, again, in my language arts classes when I was teaching. And I wrote a poem explaining where I'm from and then challenged them to do the same. And what they wrote knocked me off my feet. It was truly inspirational, beautiful. In fact, my husband and my son were driving home from a golf trip in Michigan, and I knew they were in the car for 5 or 6 more hours. So I said, you're going to listen to every poem they wrote. And they did. And each one was so beautiful. I said, this has to be in the script. And you see one of the poems in the opening scene, and the way the character who played the lead emerged was her poem is the end scene. And then, so I used the other really good poems as part of the talent show, which is scene 2, which is really a cute scene.
And so over the weeks that
yes.
you got together with the students.
Yes, we did poetry, readers' theater, cumulative readings, like with the I Have a Dream speech. Lots of poetry.
I think
improv.
You did improv, you did choral readings.
Yeah, and miming. And all that to prepare for the acting coach to come in and to get them writing. Oh, my favorite thing was a storytelling activity where I would give them a bag of random objects and they would have to create a story. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how the story of Mysterious Mona emerged, actually, because they came up with some intriguing short stories based on the bag. It was like grab the bag and create a story on the artifacts. That was one of my favorites. Yeah, this takes me back to October now, so I'm jarring my memory here, Mark. Yeah.
Joe, were you surprised at how well they did?
Oh, I was thrilled with that it turned out the way it did, but I think there was just this continual excitement, and there was this bond and friendship that developed, because the other thing about the residents that participated is that they didn't all know each other, and so part of the journey for them was actually learning about each other and coming to this realization that, we're all on this journey together, but we come from different backgrounds, different experiences, and that's, I think, was most thrilling for us. Mm-hmm.
In scene 3, Mona and Barbara do a very long scene. It's the library scene, which is probably my favorite. A lot of people said scene 3 was their favorite, the library interview scene, because there's a little bit of element of comedy to it. But they had a lot of lines to learn. Mm-hmm. And the guys filming kept saying, put your cheat sheets in that away. They needed them as a crutch. And eventually they put them away and just spoke to each other. But they had rehearsed. And Barbara at the premiere, because we had a question and answer period, Barbara said that she really enjoyed that she and Mona Sue, her real name is Sue, but I named her Mona for some reason, that she and Sue got to become much better friends because they rehearsed and practiced for scene 3, the library scene.
Is this something that's going to happen again?
That is the goal. The goal for us, for the Creative Arts Academy, is to continue that. And we're also looking at how to do this at any one of our other 12 life plan communities throughout Ohio. So the pilot was a success. There's a lot of interest in it, and we plan on moving forward. Maybe
a sequel and a train the trainer model, right?
And tell me about the premiere. That must have been pretty exciting.
Oh, my gosh.
The premiere was phenomenal. So they came in. They had a little red carpet experience. We showed the film. We had a great opportunity for us to do a question and answer at the end. But it was an honor that we had Fran Ryan from the City of Columbus office and also the Mayor Andrew Ginther, to be able to highlight the fact that, we are an age-friendly city, and we want to embrace opportunities as they come. And it was really cool, especially in the reception afterwards. I mean, just everybody hugging and celebratory, and family and friends all came out. To have 126 people come for a premiere was pretty cool.
Yeah, we were in the VIP lounge, which was fun afterwards. And Gateway Film Center, I believe, was designated by the mayor as the very first age-friendly business.
I guess my final question for the two of you before we meet some of the actors, what surprised you during all of this?
What surprised me? I think what we learned is what surprised me. I learned how, different people from such diverse backgrounds had a lot in common, but yet they had so many different talents to offer, and really enjoyed the technical aspect of it, like picking songs and music and the cutaways and the shoot wide, close in. So all that technical aspect about it. I knew going into it these people were talented. I knew enough about the people there at Westminster-Thurber that although they knocked me off my feet with what they wrote, their talent I knew was going to be there. So it's the most fun thing I think I've done in my career, to be honest. And I've done a lot of fun things as an educator for 30.5 years.
Well, that's amazing. Joe, anything surprise you, or did it go according to plan?
We were most surprised at how residents embraced the idea of trying something new. And it, again, breaks the stereotype that older adults are set in their ways, and yet when you provide them opportunity, they rise to the occasion.
How can people learn more about Ohio Living?
They can do that in one of two ways. They can go to our website, ohioliving.org, or, of course, they can call us at 614-228-8888.
Dr. Rochelle O'Connor and Joe Roble, thanks so much. Let's meet some of these actors. Well, now it's time to meet some of the actors from the film, and with us today is Reed Hundley and Dot Swikert and Carolyn Marolf, and they are here today to tell us a little bit more about this film and their experiences in making it. And Reed, let's start with you. What did you think when you first heard about the class and what was going to happen?
I've written a lot of things. I was an English prof, 30 years full-time, and I was a minister before that, so I had a lot of experience publicly speaking, all that kind of thing. But this was a challenge. I had never been in a part of a movie written by, and so it was a challenge, and we had all kinds of good teaching. At the very beginning, we had, because of our teacher, she brought in all kinds of quality people, the people who were doing the filming, that is to say the photographers. One of them left our project and went out to Hollywood, so the highest quality possible for photographer people. I learned a whole lot about how you repeat something over and over again to get it right. That was a major learning experience. And it was fun. Throughout, we had a lot of jokes and a lot of in-house kind of humor of various kinds. So I would say it was a first-rate experience. I'd be glad to do if we ever do a sequel of what we try to figure out what that might be. But we've got the blood in us now.
I guess so. And Dot, how about you?
I thought it was a wonderful idea to present a drama from seniors' perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And anything in your background that
background
gave you a lot of ease in front of the camera, or
entertainment? I was a clown and used magic and other kind of kids' interest things. So this is jumping over to the adults, to the seniors. Mm-hmm. Some of it works, even with the over 65.
That's fantastic. And Carolyn, talk a little bit about why you got involved in this.
Well, I've always loved drama and used a good bit of it in my teaching of elementary school children. And in the schools I taught in early in my career, there were no music teachers, and I happened to play piano and sing. And so the principal asked me if I would be interested in having a choir, and that's kind of what happened. And we wrote our own operettas and dialogue, and we did this after school. Mm-hmm. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And then we involved children in doing their scenery and also costuming. And we just did that twice a year, big production at Christmas time, and then one at the end of the year. And the parents came to want to see that. And so I kept doing it for a number of years. And then when I had the opportunity, wow, I thought, this is something I can do, because I've had a little bit of it with my students, and I enjoyed it very much. I liked the opportunities we had to do choral readings and improvisations.
Read back to you for a minute. It's one thing, I think all of us have seen a movie or thought about what it would be like to be in front of a camera, but what was it like the first time you were actually there and they said action?
We knew not to look down and not to look at the camera.
Yeah.
That was good to learn. We also realized that there would be retakes, so that made it a little easier to make mistakes.
Right.
So we tried all kinds of things. My approach as a teacher is just try everything and see what fits you. And I think as a humorist among all of us, we found good things among each other.
Right.
I like Dot's magic.
Right. She's good at that. And also we helped each other. I think this was a community effect. And we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and we found each other and helped each other, I think, don't you? And Dot was really good at bringing a lot of joy to the day, so we had a lot of fun doing it.
Well, Dot, did the cast, did you all know one another before the filming started or before the class started?
Well, this was so different for me from theater, where you're on the stage and you just keep moving. Filming was a whole different story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have a lot of retakes.
Yeah.
And a lot of memorization of lines, and sometimes they didn't come out exactly right.
Yeah.
So we had to do them over again, and we had a really great coach that helped us maybe emphasize a word a little more. Or my scream at the beginning of the movie wasn't quite long enough. I said, I'm no Janet Leigh. You know?
We could hear her practicing her scream quite often.
Yeah.
Scaring people in our community.
So sounds like you made some new friends during this as well.
Oh,
We're a little coterie. There's a old English word called Comitatus, which is like a group of warriors who work together very well.
Tomasimo.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, we did learn to like one another a lot better, I think, and we got to know one another, and I'm enjoying living there a whole lot more. We have a variety of activities daily to be involved in, and we pick and choose what we want and try some new things. Like this was totally new for all of us. The filming portion of it was a real big learning experience for me.
Sounds like it was a great experience for everyone, and something that, would you like to try it again?
Talking about working together, Reed and I were in a dance movement class, and the instructor would bring a big bag of scarves, and we could each pick. I mean, these things were huge, 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 and we could pick a scarf and then use it and to the music dance around. And I saw how good Ruth was with that, just a natural. So when it came time to do the magic show on our, performance, he was a natural to ask to be the magician. So he was the magician and actually produced a live kitty cat for me to dance with.
That was great.
It went from a fake cat to a real cat coming out of a hat.
Wow. So what was the premiere like?
Oh, great. Did you love that? I didn't know quite what to expect. I was a little scared to see it. We had never seen it to that day in its entirety. And to see it on the big screen was just a great event for all of us, I think. We enjoyed it.
Well, you were also you did a question and answer session, right?
Yes,
so
we did.
Basically like the movie stars do when they do a premiere.
Yes. And we walked on the red carpet. We had some of those really great feelings of what movie stars do go through. Mm-hmm. It was amazing.
We got a little heady at the end, and we decided we'll have to go out and pick a spot for the star on Hollywood Boulevard.
Well, it's interesting because all of you had to get out of your comfort zone a little bit to try something new, and it turned out to be a great experience for all of you, it sounds like.
Right.
So what would your advice be if there are people in similar situations? What would you advise for them to try?
Well, I would say try it because I know there were several people that started and expressed an interest. And then through the beginnings of the procedures that Rochelle took us through, they knew it wasn't maybe for them. And it isn't for everyone.
Sure.
But don't be afraid to try, because you might just find what we found. We really enjoyed it. And it was a learning experience.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you all for coming in. I can't believe we're out of time, but thanks so much for coming in today.
I want to give credit for Rochelle, because as a teacher, I admire great teachers, and Rochelle really is a first-rate teacher.
Yeah, we think so, too.
Yeah. I'd like to thank all three of you. Reed Hundley, thanks for coming in today. Dot Schweikert, thank you very much. And Carolyn Marr-Rolfe, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your experiences with us. Back with Joel Roble. And Joe, I know one of the exciting things about this project is anybody can see the film. It's available online. How do people get to see it?
Yeah, they'll go to our website, ohioliving.org/resident film, and that will take them right to Moonshine and Kafka.